There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission.
Back.
Yeah, we're still here, and it's episode. What episode is this?
125.
124, 125.
And now 125.
That's what I was checking. Cool. 125. We're doing marbling tonight. So got my man here, Hunter McCamey. We're in the penthouse again. I think the storm stopped? Did they stop?
I think so.
Dude, it was hitting it.
It was pouring down earlier. A little bit of lightning. You know, just the usual afternoon in Florida, but
just the old summertime.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you hear any of that, you'll know that's what happened.
All right. So marbling Q&A.
Yep.
Which is not just going to be a Q&A. We're going to walk you through some basic marbling, kind of marbling 101. An intro, a very quick and brief intro to marbling, because it is that easy. It's really not a hard or complicated technique to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is one of the great things about marbling. And then, as always, you got a couple tricks up your sleeve over there, or some experiments / some new things that you might show off. So
maybe.
And then last but not least, and obviously during the show, we will absolutely be answering your questions. So feel free. Now or later, or when you feel appropriate, drop some questions in and we'll be sure to answer them.
Always.
And
yeah, I mean, we'll take a minute out of, we usually do the 7 minutes in heaven question at the end of the show. But with these shows, we're just, as a good one comes in, the guys are in the war room, they're starring it, and we'll go through that. But we're going to, as Hunter said, we're not going to do anything too crazy tonight. But tips and tricks and answering questions. We got a little housekeeping though.
We do. So we do have on the schedule a upcoming advanced rod building techniques seminar. And that's going to be in October. That's October 24th through 26th, Friday through a Sunday. And if you have attended one of these events, you know just how good they are. So we're going to keep up the tradition of having one of these at least once a year. And the roster for presenters is quite impressive.
And speaking of that roster, I see that old Wes Christie is in here already tonight. We saw you guys did a little marbling thing. So they're going to be there. October 24th and 25th, Wes and Mary are going to be doing marbling live, teaching together. That's they work great together, being married and working with the partner there. So that's never easy. You notice my wife's not up here with me, but so yeah, they're going to be doing that among many others. I mean, I don't remember the list. I just know we were talking about marbling, so I saw Wes and Mary could be there. But oh my gosh, that is a heck of a roster.
It definitely is. Obviously, like you said, Wes and Mary are going to be there. Bill Faulkner, and plenty of more.
Garone?
Mike Garone's going to be there. I also know even Michael Ward from the Custom Colored Guides. I don't know if he's presenting, but he will be in attendance.
He'll be there. Faulkner's there. Bill?
Yep, Bill's there. Yeah.
Old Bill. Perfect. Old Bob will be there.
Absolutely.
I don't know what Bob's going to be doing, but Bob will be doing something. He might not be presenting, but he's like the MC.
Yes.
Little color commentary, little host, little everything. So he might even be bartending.
Yep, October 24th through 26th. I'm sure the guys have put a link in the chat. Seats are limited. This is not we can't fit 500 people in the shop, unfortunately, and do these seminars and demos. So the seating and the availability is limited. I think
we're over half sold out.
30 or 35 available tickets left.
Yeah,
so
because there's like 80 or 80 something.
80 total, I believe.
30s left. So you better get on that.
And this has only been released for about a week so far. So we've sold through half of the available tickets in about a week. So they go quick.
Perfect.
Next on the list, the Mudhole Rod Building Challenge is coming back. So for those that watched the live episode of our top 10, I think it was, that we featured. Was it top 10?
Top 10 what?
The Rod Building Challenge.
Oh, yeah.
For the
yeah,
rods.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That was, all right. I'm reading questions. I'm looking
No,
over
it's
there.
okay. It's
and I thought I was like, top 10 new products. What?
Yeah. No. So for
Right.
those familiar, the Mudhole Rod Building Challenge kicked off last year. This kicked off in a new format. This has been an ongoing challenge for many, many years now. It's typically tied in with the ICRBE show up in North Carolina. It is coming back this year, and it will be announced very soon with some details. Very similar format. We are going to change up a few things to make it easier and better than ever before to actually participate. The prizes for this challenge, can't release all the details, but if you followed along last year, we had prizes upwards of, $500, I think even maybe $1,000 for first place. So,
I think it was, yep.
And it's awesome being able to see people get very creative with a mystery blank. That's kind of the theme of the Rod Building Challenge. You buy, your spot in the challenge. With that purchase, you also get the mystery blank, which is typically a multi-piece blank, cut down on shipping costs. And it's kind of fair game from there. You can build that into a spinning rod, a casting rod. We saw last year a guy built a fly rod out of the multi-piece, rod. So
it was awesome.
That's
the whole deal.
Yeah.
And yeah, we even had top 10 on the show.
Yes, we did.
Yep.
For those that remember. But anyway, it's a super cool challenge. And even some people that, just got into rod building. I think one of the rods that was entered was like maybe the guy's 5th or 10th rod or something, so
for sure.
This isn't just for people that are super advanced or have been building rods for decades. This is for anybody to participate and hone your skills and test them against some of the veterans in the rod building world.
No doubt. All right, what else? We got anything else there, Uncle Phil? You want to scroll us up? New product. We have, I don't know, I know that y'all been paying attention, but we are doing kits that are either a species specific, a location specific, a time of year specific, and that's Uncle Bob is putting all those together. And Bob did like a post-spawn kit. We did a summertime. And then we went through and did the current one that we just released is backcountry flats and inshore rod kits. Now, I understand that not everybody is fishing the backcountry, the flats, inshore, all that stuff. I get it. But as we go through all of this, we're putting it all out. I also then took Bob's kits. I went through and wrote a blog about it. And since Mudhole has the tackle center downstairs, which is beyond at this point, it's so awesome. Everything is also online, so you don't just have to come here to take advantage of all the tackle. But I went through and I put a blog together to completely outfit that. So I did a casting and a spinning, my two favorite. For the casting one, I went through, it's on an FP885, which is, a great all around. I threw a lot of top water on that, 40-pound Daiwa J-braid. I'm using a Bates 200 size casting reel. I just went through all of those things. I even talk about knots that I used to tie leader to fluorocarbon and a loop knot for the lure. So I just went through and did a little more fishing in addition to the rod building. So that's at the blog right now. And then yesterday we also did a blog with the help of Lama Glass. John Posey and Kendra out there gave me a little help. Showed some behind the scenes. They pulled the curtain back a little bit. We got a lot of cool imagery there and just kind of walked you through for everybody that is new into the rod building on exactly how a rod blank is built. And Lama Glass is building them right here in the United States in Woodland, Washington, up in the Northwest. So they're doing a heck of a job. Everything from the pre-preg material all the way through until they bag them and tag them and get them headed here to Mudhole. Cool, like flip book there with all the photos and kind of how it all goes. So when we talk about some of this stuff, then you guys can kind of go, okay, well, yeah, I get what he's saying when he talks about something like pre-preg, or he's talking about sanding a blank or dipping it or running it through a squeegee to paint it, things like that. So it's all in there in the Mudhole journal and blog. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, if you guys have ever been curious and you never watched a video or checked it out online or done any research, the process of creating a rod blank or manufacturing a rod blank is a really cool process. And a
Yes.
lot of people think it's, done by machines and they just spit them out and there's no like manual labor. Could not be further from the truth.
For sure.
The majority, if not almost all, of the manufacturing process is hands-on, using mandrels and this pre-preg, carbon fiber material. It's a really cool process, and honestly, it hasn't changed much besides the materials, getting improvements.
Yep.
The manufacturing process has been the same since inception of, rod blanks, or
For
at least
sure.
graphite rod
I mean,
blanks.
when we were looking at some of the guys and gals that work out there at Lehman Glass, they start going through and it's like, raise your hand if you've been here 20 years. And it's like, whoa. And then it's like, raise your hand if you've been here 25 years. And it's just like, wow. So a lot of people know what they're doing out there at Lehman Glass.
Yep.
And it's really cool.
Yeah.
So,
Last but not least, do we have a sticker
yep.
that we need to put up on the wall?
Uncle Phil, you got me? Don't throw it because it'll. That's it. All right. I actually like this one. This one's cool. I mean, I like them all, don't get me wrong. But schoolwork custom rods.
Nice.
I really like that.
Play on words.
Yep. So he's adding a fish to the logo for each grandkid that he's got.
Oh, wow.
So, we might, all these little fish might get a little smaller as we go through, but schoolwork custom rods. So, I'm guessing what we're also going to have to do is every time that we get a new grandkid and a new fish, you got to send us an updated sticker. So we'll make sure. Actually, Hunter, I think we're building
Yep.
your side.
We're over here now.
Okay, so I got you started there.
Cool.
So make sure
Appreciate
it goes on there so that you can keep adding the ones below that one for every additional grandkid.
Let's go.
So-
How about right there?
That'll work. Perfect. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this marbling thing. Well, we do have giveaways. I know that's why y'all are really here. So we're going to be giving away a starter marbling kit, a professional marbling kit, and a rod kit of choice. That's going to be first, second, and grand prize tonight. As Hunter had mentioned, Hunter likes this stuff. And it's easy to see why, because you don't need a ton of stuff to do it. You don't need a ton of fancy stuff to do it. And although most people say like, oh yeah, I can get it to come out pretty much the same every time. Well, that pretty much the same kind of just means you can use the same colors and maybe get some of the similar designs, but it's virtually impossible. You'll never make one that is a mirror image of the other. I mean, for some of the people that do the really cool thread work or the EVA grips and things like that, all of that can be replicated. You can do trim bands and you can do stickers and that kind of decorative work, but you really can't replicate an exact mirror image of marbling every time. It's going to be like a fingerprint. It'll be close, but you'll never get it exactly right. Well, I don't mean to say right, because there's no like right or wrong. It's one of those you'll never get it the exact same. It can always be right, but you'll never have one that they look identical side by side. So a couple of things we've got up here. I've got Pro Coat in the technically medium build, right? So for y'all that use rod finish, you sometimes will hear of a high build, a low build, and a medium build. The Pro Coat is a medium build unless it says that it's a high build, and then it's a high build. There's no low build there. Then we've got Gen 5. I think everybody's been hearing about that. We've been talking about that. So Gen 5, I have been told, and I've been playing with it a little bit, that it's a little bit better for the people that like heat. I'm a heat person. So Gen 5 and I get along great. For adding colors to this thing, there's a lot of different things you can do. CRB has a full line of these powder marbling pigments. So if you look on the bottom, right, that's actually powder in there. And I mean, it's powder, like super, super fine. Very, very fine, like you might find floating in the ocean off of South Florida fine. So like, there's just, you got to be careful with it because it can go everywhere. Now, I don't know how many colors there are, but there are a pile of colors.
Gotta be close to 40.
Okay,
Maybe.
we'll go with 40.
Something like that.
That's Hunter right there, the product guy, ex-product guy. Now, we also have marbling pigments. So these pigments are going to, they act like a paint, right? Now, this comes into play a lot. So this is the CRB Bob Ross pigment tray
Palette.
for palette, right? For making happy little marblings. Hunter loves this. I like it too because you can mix your finish and you can evenly distribute it around here, right? Because I think most of us, when we mix finish, we're either mixing 3 mLs of each or we're mixing maybe 2 mLs of each. Well, that's a lot. If you're going to just do like one color and you're going to put a few little dots and that's all you're going to do, why are you going to waste, 4 to 6 mLs of finish? So it allows you to mix your finish in your mixing dish, put them in here, and add your pigment to it. Now, a couple other things here. We do have some high build here. I like to mess around with high build a little bit. I build with it a lot, depending on what I'm building. The only time I tend to use high build is for like the base coat. So if you're going to just like lay down solid black or solid white or something, because it sets up a little faster, it doesn't want to like warp on you, I guess, if that's the right word, right? Because all of this marbling stuff, there's going to be movement. And it's because what you normally don't see when you put clear finish on something, it self-levels and it rolls around and it cures, right?
Yeah, it spreads.
Right, exactly. Well, there's times that we want to minimize that spread. So certain times I use high build, other times I use regular build. We also have ways to manipulate this finish. And one of those ways we will show tonight is using Flex Coat's color preserver and thread sealer. Everybody knows how much I love color preserver. This is the only time I use it. Well, yeah, pretty much the only time I use it. Now, an asterisk. When we put, and we're going to show you this later, we have the Flex Coat color preserver on here and only Flex Coats here for a reason. We're going to show you why later. If you have other color preservers, you're not necessarily going to be able to use the trick we're going to show later. So get you some of that if you want to do marbling and do a little more advanced kind of working with some of this paint. So is that mixed already?
That one's not. This one is.
Okay.
Yep.
Another quick trick. Also, Wes and Mary talked about this in a previous marbling episode, and it is in fact true. They've been doing it for years. You can take finish, 2-part, right? So we have the part A, part B, hardener, resin. You can kind of see it in there. It looks like the old like layered Jell-O back in the day. So you can add hardener, resin, doesn't matter which one, put them in there as long as you don't mix them. This will sit here all night till tomorrow. It won't set up. It won't get weird. It will sit just right here until you're ready to mix it. So if you want to make it a little easier on yourself, get you a couple cups back here, pre-syringe them out, load them up, and then when you're ready to mix them, then mix them and they'll be ready to go. You don't have to go fumbling for like, oh, I need this one and I need that one. And then you lean across and you rub your shirt sleeve and you're marbling. Not that anybody's ever done anything like that, but yeah. So those are a couple little kind of tips and tricks there of just getting set up.
Just getting the stuff.
Just
Gotta have
getting
the
set up.
stuff. And luckily, the great thing about marbling is, again, it's pretty simplistic. You need to have a little creative touch. You need to kind of know what colors you want to go in and, match up there. But what I'm getting at is, especially if you buy, we have, kits to buy, the starter marbling kit, right? It's going to have all of these liquid pigments plus a few of the other supplies. This stuff lasts forever, right? This little jar right here, I'm going to show it in a second when I actually mix the pigment together.
Yep.
This jar will last you forever.
Yeah.
It will outlive you unless it dries up and, go a little bit that way. There we go. It's product placement.
A little that way?
Yeah. But anyway, this bottle, and whether it's this liquid or even what Chris showed earlier, the PMRB pigments, which are not a liquid base. They're more of just like a, kind of like a glitter pigment, more of a glitter.
They are pearly.
Fine, more fine, right?
The powder ones?
Yes,
Yeah.
the powder. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Even those, they're super small, but they will last you forever. So again, the great thing about marbling, you get the supplies, and it's kind of a one purchase, and you might have to get an extra color here or there, or obviously you got to use epoxy and things like that. But you get it, and you're gonna have it for a long, long time. So anyway, let's get into it.
Yeah. As you're doing that, let me answer a couple of these really quick.
Go for it.
None of these finish coats are affected by UV light to speed up or to slow down curing process. None of them. Okay. You can't make them cure faster, cure slower, none of that stuff. The only thing that we use that will cure differently than all of these two-part epoxies is Permagloss. Permagloss is like a 1-part urethane humidity cured urethane. That's what it is. That's the only thing. Now, it also does not cure based on UV or any of that stuff. So all of this stuff is based on 2-part chemical reaction curing. UV doesn't do anything. So, yes. Yes, you can mix any of these colors to make a custom color. Cindy McKay, Hunter, said there are 32, not 38 powder pigments.
Well,
thank you, Cindy.
I said 40,
It's
but
almost like you work here. Let's see. Question. Would using the light build first to help hold the thread in place and then use the high build as a second coat? So you absolutely can do that. What I do is I will do exactly what you're talking about when I'm doing an under wrap on a saltwater rod and come back with an over wrap. I'll lay down thread, I'll do light coat, then I'll come back, I'll wrap the guide and do high build because I'm going to be covering more. I might be covering like a roller guide and 2 layers of size D thread, something like that. So you can do high then low, low then high. You can mix and match. That's fine. But sometimes I do a base coat when it's high build just to get it set up a little quicker. What are you doing over there, Hunter?
I'm just laying down
figuring it out.
Getting my base layer down here.
Yep.
While you were hitting those questions.
Tiffany, does the Flex Coat product turn your thread into a color fast thread? Technically, it does, yes. If you look at color fast thread, hang on, let me see. I know I got some here. If you look, all right, that's working out well. Hang on. Okay. If you look at color fast thread and regular nylon, now no, these are not the same color, and it is a little hard to tell, but it's just what I had. So if you notice this green one, this is regular nylon. This is color fast. Can you notice this has a little more sheen to it, right? It's a little richer. This looks a little more of a matte finish, right? I'm hoping you guys, is that coming across at all, Uncle Phil? A little bit? Not really? Okay. Well, so the nylon is always going to look a little richer. That's also why that regular nylon in the black 862, it gets the darkest possible black that there is. between ColorFast and regular nylon black, ColorFast is by far the darkest true black. When you put a color preserver over a regular nylon, it still retains the nylon kind of a sheen and a color, but yes, it makes it so that when you put finish on it, it doesn't change the color. But they still look a little different. If you were to, even with the same color side by side, it looks a tiny bit different. So I don't particularly like putting color preserver on anything, as you have heard me say this multiple times, but it is what it is. And yes, it will technically turn it into a ColorFast thread. All right, Hunter, what you got, bro?
All right, so what I've done to catch y'all up, did a little prep work here, nothing too much, but added a layer of epoxy.
Okay.
You know, a couple inches, nothing crazy. This is demo purposes. I'm not looking for the straightest lines or none of that. We're marbling
Clearly.
here. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
you know, it is what it is.
for sure.
I wouldn't say this is a thin coat, and I wouldn't say it's a heavy coat. We're kind of in the middle. I've got just enough epoxy on here that once I add my marbling, it's able to kind of stay in place, hopefully. We'll see.
Yep.
But that is one of the reasons I do like using high build, and I am using it right now. This is Pro Coat High Build. Now, there is a drawback there. You got to be a little bit quick on your toes because this does set up faster than a medium or low build, but the thing I like about high build, as Chris mentioned earlier, is the viscosity is thicker. And that's great because once you do drop this pigment into this layer of, you know, epoxy, my hope again is that it remains as stationary as possible and it stays where I put it. I really don't want this stuff to be spreading out too much right away. I want to go in when everything is, you know, all the colors have been added, and I want to be able to kind of manipulate those colors and add, you know, some kind of design or something. I don't want that to do it by itself.
Yeah.
Because you know, sometimes it can come out pretty cool. You can have some kind of abstract, you know, cool design. Most of the time, though, it's going to have an effect that you probably don't want. And the trick or the downside with marbling is you can get creative if there is a boo-boo or a mess up and try your best to hide it or maybe, you know, add a color on top. But once it's on there, you can't just, you know, if you drop in blue and then you drop in yellow, you can't just take the blue away or the yellow away.
No, you can't.
Once it's on there, it is on there. Of course, you can wipe the blank and take everything off and start over, but that's a little messy and nobody wants to do that. So anyway, I got my base layer of epoxy. You could have certainly went ahead and tinted this layer of epoxy with a pigment if you wanted to. If you wanted a very, you know, just a black background, you could have done that. You can do it at this stage before you actually add your marbling.
Yep.
Or, which I think Chris is going to show a little bit later, you can actually put down a layer of thread and then even, you know, put finish over that, just as you would a thread wrap or anything else, and then marble over top of that.
Yeah, we even had Hal in here, Hal Mandelbaum. We'll get to you there, I promise.
Yep. So there's a lot of ways to cut and dice this. It kind of just depends on where you want to go, but
yeah,
this is more of the kind of the traditional way. Put your epoxy down that doesn't have any pigment. That way you can see through the blank or all the way to the blank, and then we can come in and add some pigments. So.
And honestly, though, too, like, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say again that there's really nothing wrong. Like, yes, you might go, well, that wasn't exactly the look I was going for, and maybe you think that's ugly, but it's kind of a one-of-a-kind deal. So, I mean, if you just really hate it, as Hunter said, get the alcohol, the acetone out, get it all wiped down, but you can manipulate it to a point where it actually kind of comes around. I did this earlier. So Hunter was talking about, he put no pigment here, right? And I added pigment here to give it like a little bit more of a camouflage kind of look. I purposely put black pigment in there. But when you start putting it down, it almost is like, it's scary because you're going, wow, this is terrible. Like this is worse than 2-year-old finger paint type look. And then as you kind of go through, you just kind of have to like put a roadmap in your head of how you want it to go, and you're going to use these colors, and you're going to go about it, and kind of walk through a little at a time. Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't start smearing stuff around. And sometimes if you feel like it's starting to get a little away from you, just give it a second, take a step back, let it kind of settle, because you can overwork it a little bit, and you don't want to get too messy, or you're just going to end up with mud. You're going to take all the colors and just mix them together and go, oh, okay, well, cool, that's all one color now. So, yeah, I'm just adding a little commentary while we wait for that high bill to settle.
Please don't. I don't have a lot more time to work here.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so
Go ahead.
to add pigments to your epoxy, number one rule is go very, very, very small amount, and then you can always add more. These pigments are very concentrated, I would say, and a little goes a long way. Literally. I mean, it's white on white. I know it's hard to see, but we'll show one of the colors in a minute. I mean, I barely just touched the inside of that jar. And
well, too, you're only using, you're not using an entire mix of epoxy, right?
It's and one thing I forgot to mention earlier is obviously I laid down my base layer of epoxy. I also put a little bit of epoxy in 4 of these little spots on the tray.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm going to be using 4 colors, so that's why we went with 4. So I'm just going to mix in this pigment to where all of the epoxy obviously turns to white. And when that's done, we can move on to the next one.
I do have to clear this up while you're doing that. Cody, that's a good point. When I said mud, I was referring to water and dirt mud, not the marbling mud, like Voodoo Rod marbling mud, because that stuff is cool. But turning all of your pigments into one color that might look like water and dirt mixed together is not cool. So, yes, and I know Mary Christie uses that exact mud you're talking about. So, thank you for that, because I can see where maybe that I didn't want to diss on somebody's really cool product that is that marbling mud.
So you can see, and I even took even more, and probably can still take more off. I literally just skimmed the top and got too much and had to take some off. So it does not take much. I'm gonna speed things up here because
yeah, go ahead and I'll answer some questions. Mike, yes, can you drop the liquid pigment straight on the finish on the rod itself without mixing it with prior to applying to the rod? You can. You just got to be careful. You don't want to put a big glob of marbling pigment or paint or anything that is not going to be mixed in well. Now, if you just want to add a little bit, yeah, you're going to be okay. But you do not want to just take like a big eyedropper and just right on there. If you're going to do that, you need to mix everything in. But you can take, as long as the marbling pigment and the epoxy on the rod is still wet, you can take it right to it. Randy, how do you keep epoxy flow from looking like a Walmart parking lot oil spill? So you can kind of see we're sort of going through all of the steps to keep that from happening. Hey, go Gators. It's game day weekend. I'm ready for this.
I knew you'd like that.
I'm telling you, man, we got a tough game Saturday. We're playing Long Island University.
Wow, that's a school?
I guess so it is. I don't even know if they have a mascot.
Yeah. All jokes aside, obviously they gotta start out with the JV team.
Hey, to be honest with you though, if I'm Long Island University, I'm taking that payday.
Absolutely, that's great for those smaller schools.
Because Florida is going to write them a check, and then they're going to be able to use that for all kinds of cool stuff up there. So how do we keep the epoxy flow from looking like a Walmart parking lot? So we're going through all of that. Hunter's not really in a total rush. It's the same reason that I talk about not putting, quote, hot finish over a decal, because that will create a big problem, right? So we are taking our time a little bit with this, but that is just so that when Hunter puts that first drop of epoxy with pigment in it onto the epoxy that he already has on the rod, that it just doesn't go whoop and fall right through it.
Kind of playing the game of trying to get to a point with the epoxy to where it's starting to set up and getting, you know, thicker and thicker by almost by the minute, but not setting up completely, because obviously once that point happens, we got to start over.
Now, also one thing to keep in mind, and I have noticed this when you are adding, like, if you take that paintbrush and you drop it and go right in, and you're going to add like a bloop of finish with pigment right onto the top there, and now you've got a dot, you have to be careful, because if you do it too soon, that dot, and we're talking fractions upon fractions upon fractions of whatever weight of measurement you want to list here. If you take and you put a little dot, if Hunter just goes boop and goes right on the center there, if that base epoxy is not set up enough, and it's either light build and you're using high build for the other stuff, that dot is actually going to be heavy and heavier than all the other epoxy around it, and it's going to want to slide and run, and that has a tendency to run more than if you didn't just put a big blob of pigmented epoxy on it. So keep that in mind. If you want that look, if you want to put a big blob and let it streak around, kind of looks like, you know, Hunter's Comet going around the rod blank, right? You can do that. But that's the effect you're going to get, because it's going to weigh more and it's going to drag itself around. So just something else to keep in mind.
So this is actually, in my opinion, my professional opinion, for what it's worth, this is exactly where I want this epoxy. You see how slow that drop is? Actually, I'd prefer it to be set up even a little bit more, but this will do. Because what I can do is, see how it creates that little bit of a drop, but it's not falling off.
Just barely hanging on.
Just barely hanging on. That is the consistency I want to see. How about that angle? Yeah, just a little bit of a drop. All right, let's do this.
Yes, Cookie, we are mixing those pigments into our two-part epoxy rod finish. That's exactly what's going on here.
So I want to get enough epoxy, enough of this pigment, and I can kind of, you know, roll it around with this little plastic stick, but I want to get enough of this epoxy to where when I do go to my rod blank, all I'm going to do is just kind of drop it in place. And you can do bigger drops. Oh, messed up there.
No, you didn't. You're good.
You're right.
We're just marbling.
That's what I meant to do. What I meant to do is
It's a pretty good look there, Hunter.
This.
Everybody see that? Whoa.
There we go. That's better. Yeah. And honestly,
that one looks like he's just swimming right around that rod.
Yeah. I don't really like doing just the yeah. I really don't like just doing the single like drops. I actually do prefer if they have a little bit of legs to them, because that way when we go back and actually manipulate this stuff, I've got paint in more areas, or it's not paint, it's pigment epoxy, but you guys know what I mean.
Alex, can you mix two pigments into one epoxy dish? Yes, you absolutely can. You can get your color wheel out. You can create different shades of all of those colors. We've got, you know, if you're good at yellow and blue make green, right? So you can absolutely do that.
That one orange dot was just too big, but that's part of it.
We'll drag it around.
Yep, that's the beauty of marbling. And honestly,
hang on just 1 second, Hunter.
Yeah.
Let me.
I get a little off there.
Well, and then this is just down the.
Perfect.
Stand by. It's coming from the war room. They're barking at us.
Okay. Sorry.
No, we're good.
All right, and I'll try to keep my head. Am I out of the way? I am. Okay.
Here.
All right.
We got the little man up there hanging in the rafters.
And you know, some people will actually go into marbling with, you know, a little bit of an idea of the design or the pattern. I'm not really one of those people. I like to have kind of my set colors picked out. Uh-oh. Easy there, orange. Get over. Don't need you going into the white. I just like to have kind of my colors picked out. And then when it comes to actually the design itself, just kind of wing it. And whatever it turns out to be, it turns out to be.
Yeah? You mean you didn't plan all that out?
No.
Yeah.
That's the fun with marbling. Why go into it with this set plan and all these ideas and,
Right.
you know,
We got more important
That's
things
not
to do around
fun.
here.
it's not fun at all. And I don't really know if this black is even going to show up that well. Probably when we start
You
mixing.
start dragging it.
Yeah, start mixing it with the other colors.
Yeah.
I'm going to go maybe a little bit more black.
Yes, Michelle. So can you speed up the turning to make it spread out? So, Michelle, if we sped up the chuck or the RPMs going on, it's not necessarily gonna spread it like it's gonna sling it, right? It still has pretty good amount of tension. What it will do is as you drop that drop, it will elongate your drops, right? Because it's spinning quicker, and that's going to stretch it out a little bit. But just the fact that if we sped it up RPM wise, it's not necessarily going to make it go like crazy and go all tie-dye and sling it on us, if that's kind of what you're asking.
So this is the fun part. And this is where there are no rules. You can just kind of do whatever you want. And if obviously you do have a set idea, I was just joking, you can obviously go into it with a game plan, but I do find it fun to, you know, pick out the colors and have a little bit of an idea where we want to go with it. But outside of that, this is the fun part where you just kind of, you get to do your best Bob Ross and just start painting and find your little happy marbling. I know for a fact I'm going to have to put more on here because this is just not really doing what I want it to do.
Yeah, but it's still kind of cool. I kind of like it.
It's not
I
bad.
like how that orange and white was right there together. That kind of looked kind of cool.
Now, you can use, I'm using a pick from one of our 4-piece pick sets.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just have so many.
Is it probe set?
Is
Pick
it probe set?
I think it's probe set.
Okay, it's a probe set.
Right?
You can use a
Tell me.
probe.
You're the guy.
Probe, pick, you know, whatever. Something with a little sharp, or not sharp, but a fine edge where you can really get in here. And, you know, I'm not pressing super hard. I'm just kind of moving the paint around and making these little designs and little starburst looking.
Cookie was asking, do you always use the same wet epoxy with your marbling as you use for the base coat? Not necessarily. It's not always a right or wrong. Like I said, I tend to like high build for the base because I don't always want my base going crazy. But sometimes when you use high build and high build, it can be a little much to work with. So if you go high build on the base and then low build on the other stuff, or medium build, I feel like it works out a little bit better, but there's no rule there. I think Wes, you don't use any high build, do you? You're all light build, right? Let's see. Oh, this is kind of cool. You know, we didn't really talk about this ever. Any method to marble an epoxy ramp. So, Kevin, the only thing that you have to be careful with is the slope of that ramp. You need to get your base coat, I mean, to the point of tacky, because just the natural, like, wanting that epoxy to drag down, you're gonna probably, if everything is not cured enough, you might, and it might not be a bad thing, but you just might have to understand that everything might flow down, right? You might have a little gravity to work with. And again, might not be a bad thing, but the epoxy ramp would be cool because you could use, if you've seen our epoxy ramp show, you know, we do a lot of a black base coat or solid black thread and then finish over it and stuff. So from there, everything can kind of go kind of wild. I mean, I think it would be cool. So good call on that.
All right. I'm liking this more.
Yeah, there you go. You just got to stay with it. Yes, Cookie, that is a dental tool. Mudhole sells them. We actually sell them in a 4-pack. So it is the 4-piece thread probe set. So you can marble your rods, and then you can get that stubborn piece of apple skin out of your tooth after dinner. So yeah, it's a 2-for-1 thing. It's very easy. Yeah, Wes said he uses medium. You would.
Oh, Wes.
Ah.
All right.
Wes, we do. And speaking of that, it's always a step ahead of us. This is one of my favorite tools in your marbling workbench. CRB dryer, but with the slip clutch. So the slip clutch helps when you want to do some kind of exacting kind of marks. When I was doing, here, I'll go back to the overhead here, and I'll slide this camo piece in here. So when I did the camo, this was solid black, laid down, not cured. And then there's just a lot larger drops, right? So Hunter was doing some smaller drops. I was doing a lot larger drops, and then was running colors through them. So like some of the khakis were like, Uncle Phil was in here earlier, and he was like, yeah, that khaki color doesn't have enough color in it, or that green is too big. But the good part about the slip clutch with this is I can stop it, and I can manipulate it in a way that like I really want it to be just that way. Sometimes when it's coming around and you kind of drag it, you kind of might miss. But if you notice, there was a couple streaks through the center of that khaki that is a little more defined, and it's not, and that was just because I stopped the clutch, dragged down the center of that, and then I turned it loose again. So if you don't have an RBS Pro, I would get the slip clutch. Know what I mean?
Absolutely. Definitely, because I mean, I even experienced it to where I'm like, oh, I need to stop it, but I can't, and
Right.
because you sometimes you do want to have that pinpoint precision to be able to go in and just change that one little bubble or that one little piece, and if you're constantly rotating, that's just not possible. But
Yeah.
the one cool thing that I didn't mention about marbling that I think is probably one of the coolest aspects that really sets a rod apart from a lot of others is you're not going to find marbling on a rod, off the shelf.
No.
Marbling, when I see marbling, I automatically know that's a custom rod, right? Because you take, decorative butt wraps or cross wraps, you're going to see some of that, or even, nice trim band work or thread work. You can see some of that on off-the-shelf rods.
Yeah.
You're not going to see any rods with true marbling. If it is, it's probably a sticker that they've added to that rod. So
Yeah.
marbling is something you can add to your rod. And, maybe you're not a huge fan of my design, but that's okay.
Somebody said it looks like Jackson Pollock.
I think I'll take that.
Sure.
But anyway.
You get more money for it than it said Hunter McCamey.
Yeah, whether it's mine or whether, I do think Chris's looks much better than mine. But to each their own, right? Whatever colors you want to go with. Again, it's something you can add to a custom rod that you're just not going to see on any other rod off the shelf. And that's super cool to me. And the ends, the options are endless. You can try to write your name in marbling, or I don't know, just do all kinds of crazy things. It's a really cool technique. It's not hard to do. You do have to have a little bit of a creative touch and maybe kind of envision, where you want to take it. But I've seen some really cool marbling that almost doesn't even look real. It looks so good. So
Let's do a giveaway.
let's do it. All right, giveaway number 1, we're going to do the starter marbling kit, which I believe has all of the, or most of the liquid pigments from CRB, along with some supplies, man, I cannot talk right now, supplies that you need, brushes, some cups. And if you are going to do marbling, make sure you have plenty of disposable brushes, these plastic sticks, and cups. You need those 3 things, and you need quite a few of them. But anyway, let's do a giveaway.
You
Go
took
ahead.
all that creative juices before the show tonight.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
exactly. Go ahead and run it. Let's see who we got. All right, Steve K.
Ooh,
As
K.
usual, last name initial only, and
K could be good.
We'll call that in just a second to get that full last name. Stand by, Steve K. We'll confirm your last name in just a second here. Steve Keller.
Oh.
Good stuff. Steve Keller, congratulations. Make sure you email live@mudhole.com,
Yep.
Live, to claim your prize. Chris will take care of you and get you that starter marbling kit.
All right, so we'll do a couple little add-ons here, a couple little tricks. Yeah, I'm going to show you how to mix a powder pigment here real quick. All right, so I've been mixing this one up. Can you get me another Bob Ross there, please? A little palette.
Oh, palette.
Yep.
Not brush, palette.
Thank you.
And these trays, I believe they're in the starter marbling kit. You get a 5-pack of these trays for under $10. And if you really wanted to, you could probably reuse these. Just clean out your epoxy at the end. Might be a little messy, but if you really want to, save some pennies. Otherwise, again, 5-pack for under $10, and it's just so easy to keep all of your colors separate. It spreads them out a little bit instead of it being in a cup. And
mix that one for me?
yeah.
Careful, there's a finish on the end of that.
Oh,
All right.
I already got a bunch of junk on my hands anyway.
All right. Let's see. Kevin said you fellas need afros. I don't know about all that. All right. We got the purple. I'm going to show you what this stuff looks like. We're going to go overhead for this one. Whoop. Yep. Stand by. Stand by. Stand by. Okay. So there's purple pigment, right? Not much. You get it out from here. Okay. We could do a little at a time, right? You see, put a little in there, maybe a little more. That's it. All you need. Just a little bump. Now, we'll mix it in here. See if we can kind of get the sheen look to it. You see how it kind of has a metallic-y kind of, down here you can almost see it a little bit better than in the overhead.
Would you dare say iridescent?
I think that's a good word. That sounds exactly right. I'm just going to take it and put it right on top of your thing so that we can see what this looks like. All right. Just so you guys can see what the old purple looks like. You can see it wasn't much. See as that comes around. I tried to put it on the white. You could kind of see it there, how it gave it that sort of metallic-y. It's clear, but it's not. It's like a purpley kind of clear.
Almost opaque.
Are you taking the SAT this weekend or something?
Yeah, I'm
What's
just
going on
studying.
with
Yeah.
that? My gosh.
Just trying to sound smart.
There's only room for one of us, so I'm glad you got it going.
Somebody's gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's I'm leaving it. I don't want to mess with it because I wanted you guys to see as the light kind of refracts it. See how it has that real, like, kind of glossy? Phil, is that coming through? So with the air bubbles, Tom, no, it really didn't. It's once I mix the epoxy and then get it out, this doesn't, for some reason, and I know what you're saying, using these flat spatulas in these little tiny dishes do not really create the bubbles like you would think it would. And I have never, let's see, we'll just go ahead and really like booger this thing up. Did you put?
This one's mixed.
This one's mixed? Okay.
That one's not.
Whoa. Actually, we're going to do, give me the white.
It's not a bad idea to wear gloves when you're doing this.
Golly.
You can be as
Oh
careful.
yeah, somebody said pearlescent.
Pearlescent. Ah, that's good. That's good.
Much better. And yes, you could do stuff with blacklight paint as well. So what I will do sometimes with my mixing, if I use the back side of my mixing stick, oh, we got the like triple zoom. Nice. All right. I will actually just go into the pigment about like that and then go into my... That was almost it, everybody.
You go ahead and put the top on.
Yeah. Let me get...
A little more?
Yeah, let me get... Stir it up a little. There's a spacecraft landing outside? What's all that? Jeez. All right. So, yeah, grab us some of that because
It's impossible not to
going
get it on
everywhere.
your fingers. There you go.
All right. So, okay. We're going to get this. We're going to do this trick with the old Flex Coat color preserver. Now, unfortunately, where do you want me to go? Stand by, stand by, stand by. Let me switch sides here. Put it right there. That work? I need another brush. Is that cool? All right. So, I don't have a perfect formula for you. I know you guys love it when I give you the like, put exactly 2 drops of this or 1 drop of this or whatever. All right. I can't. What I will say is go a little at a time. And I don't mean a lot. I mean a little at a time. Hopefully that wasn't even too much.
And like Chris mentioned earlier, you have to use Flex Coat color preserver. It's a whatever the formula is for Flex Coat color preserver. I think it's the acrylic based part of it that allows this particular method to happen.
It is that, and I'll show you also in a minute why that is too. I'm just making sure that this is very, very well mixed. It's not there yet. You can see it's got a little bit more of a hang on there, right? And it's very interesting. I know this looks like that I'm like making scrambled eggs, but it's amazing that how well the bubbles pop when you put this stuff in there. And stuff, I mean, color preserver. Now, when you're stirring it, and you're stirring it quickly, when you can see it like starting to move away from the side of the dish and like congregate in the center, it's starting to get a little more, right? And this is all in real time. So you can see I am obviously not like rushing this or not rushing it or whatever, but that pearlescent is kind of like molded in there, kind of cool.
It is, yeah.
See, your stuff is not so ugly after all. Hang on.
Oh, getting close.
It's almost like I don't know if I want to put any more in there. I feel like I booger it up. We're gonna go. Whoa.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a tiny. It
also depends on the epoxy you're using too. You know, if you're using high build, you're probably going to get the effect much faster than a medium or a low build.
See, it kind of. That's not normal epoxy there. All right.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, see how that's really wanting to kind of string. All right, here we go. Put very, very defined lines now. I don't just immediately go right to it. I tried to let it string to the thickness of like stringiness that I want. And then I'll go to the rod blank and then I'll pull it away at the end as it kind of breaks it off, right? Because if you don't, it can actually kind of drag on you and get kind of weird. So I'm always trying to make like a very hard move there at the end. All right, so that's about perfect. Maybe go a little more. I'm going to just, for the heck of it, I'm going to show you when it starts to get a little too much. And it's not like, it won't be too much like, oh, it's not going to cure and it's going to be ruined. It's not like that. Dude, this is like 2025 Space Odyssey coming on. This thing. Actually looks pretty good in person, really.
It doesn't look bad.
All right, this is starting to get like...
Gloopy.
Yeah. You know, when you go to Dairy Queen and they like hand you your Blizzard and they like turn it upside down for whatever ridiculous reason, still, that's what it is. So it could just be like, you know, it's almost getting to where you can. It's like, oh, here we go, folks. That's nice. All right. This one is really starting to get like... And you got to be careful that it doesn't hang on from the other side either, because it will. Now, as it starts getting heavier like this, you have to be careful because you can, if you look in that string, you can see a bubble. And if that bothers you, that bubble is going to translate down to your marbling because it'll just be an extra little round bloop on that string. So just keep that in mind. All right? So that's that. I don't know, it kind of looks like an album cover a little bit. A little bit. Okay, so that is that. Any issues with the paint crackling with the rod flex over time? No. All this stuff's not going to crack because it's got a flex agent because it's rod finish. Even when you put paint in it, it's fine. The ratio from like paint to what you call it is fine. Did you mix that?
No.
Okay. You don't have to. I'm gonna use this real quick. Now, another thing, and I know that, you know, we try to show everything that we got here, but for the sake of our good friends, Wes and Mary, Christy, so they use folk art. Wes does, okay? This is an acrylic paint. This actually sort of acts the same as the Flex Coat stuff. I haven't found it to be exactly the same, but I'll show you what happens. You got to be careful. The only thing that might be, you know, a pro in regards to using that paint is there's like hundreds of colors. I couldn't get, and this could just be me, because I'm new to this one. If you look at my my camo here, I could not get quite as vivid of colors. Let me show you here real quick, now that I've got that mixed up. Okay. So just a word to the wise on this. All right, I'm going to show you the camo one again. Overhead. And it could just be me, but I was not able to get as quite as sharp, and maybe I didn't have enough color in it. I don't know. But that's why I'm giving, translating this over to y'all with exactly what I used. Using the acrylic paint here, it's probably just me, but I feel like that wasn't as sharp and as vivid as that. Now, I know the colors are a little bit different, but I feel like these colors really got after it. So,
wow.
Here is using the acrylic on it, and it will kind of string it out a little bit. I'm not going to go over Hunter's thing here, but
The masterpiece?
yeah, right. But you can see it. You can string it, right? And a word to the wise with some of this stuff too. When you are using the colors in here, if you notice when this white comes around, see that white there? That white kind of fades out. It gets real feathery. See it right there? I think it's a cool look. It looks to me, it looks kind of smoky, right? But if you do not want it to look smoky, and you also do not want it to get stringy, add less of the Flex Coat that I did, right? I added enough Flex Coat to make it stringy. If you go somewhere in between, it will keep it a little more vivid, or you just got to add more pigment. But you can really not go wrong with the Flex Coat, adding it in to richen it up and thicken it up a little bit. Just understand that you are going to get to a point where it's going to become stringy, and then it's not going to act, like all this other stuff that Hunter did. So you can also be careful and completely ruin it.
Oh boy.
But
Here we go.
just be aware. We have a heat gun here, okay? And as much as I don't want to do this, because I think it looks cool, you have a heat gun, or for those that have your alcohol burner or a torch, it does not take much to get this to start to move around. Now, this high build might... There it goes.
It's melting.
Yeah.
It's actually not that bad.
Not too bad.
No.
I had to see it in the center there, and it's stringing. Now, one thing that you can do, we're just going to do it because we don't have this thing bolted to the ground. You can take it and you can tip this, and you can add heat, and it'll make it run different directions. See, it's starting to kind of warp and swirl a little bit. The problem is this is just it's kind of sort of becoming messy. But you can see what happens when you add heat to it. I think it looked better when we didn't add the heat to it. But I had to show you guys like what happens when you really destroy something with like not even that much heat.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Hunter, but
No, it's okay. We got to show the do's and we got to show the don'ts. So,
Yep.
And hopefully, if you pick up on some of the don'ts, we hope that you don't replicate that at home and hopefully avoid some of these catastrophes.
because we don't want y'all to get all the way through it and then go, oh no.
Yeah, definitely be careful with heat. It does have a place, especially if if you got some bubbles and that type of thing. But man, be very, very careful. If you do use heat, stay away from it as much as possible, and just especially if it's like a torch or something, just kind of flame that thing really, really, really quick.
Yeah.
And go,
or
stay far away.
Yeah, or do it all before you start putting the pigment in there. Hunter, even if you use all black, it works just fine. But if you just wanted to make sure everything was kind of leveled out and you only just had finish on there, you could actually, and not that I necessarily recommend doing it, but you can take high build, you can mix it up and leave it in the dish for a minute and let it start to cure faster. Then you can spread it on, and you can take a heat gun and add some more heat to it, and you're going to make that finish kick a little faster. So you can rush it a little bit, and then rushing it is the wrong word, but you can kind of help your base set up a little faster. Make sure the base is level. I know we didn't really talk about that earlier, but make sure everything is level, the base is level. We're working on a really thick rod blank here, so we made sure we had our pro stands and we got out and was like, okay, that needs to be level, because if you've got a larger butt and it tapers down and it starts sloping, this all has to be level. So just a couple.
That's a good point,
there.
and I did miss that. And just a recommendation, what you can do is apply your base coat before you even mess with the pigments, right? Go ahead and put your base coat down and just step away from it. Let it just spin for 5 minutes or so, kind of like I did earlier, not purposely. And then once you mix your pigments in your tray, you come back to your base layer. More than likely by 5 minutes, even maybe 3 minutes or so, it's going to self-level for the most part. If you need to come in and touch up a few places, that's fine. But yeah, good tip there, Chris.
You could also use like little glitter packets too. I'm not going to open this up because if we started opening this thing up, it'll look like that we were up all night at an establishment. So I just don't need glitter everywhere. But you can add little fine. This is ultra fine, extra fine, very fine. I don't know what it is, what the term is. But you can add very fine glitter to any of this stuff throughout any part of this process. If you've got some like real chunky flake, like the big square flake that you see in like your June bug worm or your watermelon red, it's got those big square flakes in it. You've got to be very careful that you don't get a flake oriented to where it's going to be sticking up out of your finish. Now, it's not a problem. You just need to put an extra coat of finish over the top of it once everything is cured. But if you do have those big chunky flakes that you see in your flipping baits or whatever, that is something to, something to kind of pay attention to.
Saved it.
Yeah, that's what you did. All right, let's do a demo. All right, let's do a giveaway, and then I'll do one last little thing, and then we'll answer questions.
Cool. All right, giveaway number 2, professional marbling kit. It's just going to have a lot of more stuff than the starter kit did.
Extra more stuff,
all the good stuff for marbling. Let's run that giveaway and see who our second winner of the night is.
I feel like, should we try to save that, Hunter, man? You want to plug it in and set it down over there?
Sure.
Just do that. Just put it on the ground, I guess. Joe B.
Joe B.
Man,
all right.
That could go anywhere.
There.
Here you go.
Okay.
I'll pull this thing in.
Stand by for that last name. Who we got? Joe Brownlee.
Oh,
Joe Brownlee.
that's easy. Cool. Congratulations, Joe. I'm going to do two things here real quick. I just want to show you guys. Ew. Okay, so this is black thread. Did I throw away that other one? No, I didn't. All right, so we've got black thread, and then you can...
It's got some epoxy on it?
This is black thread with finish on it. So it is jet black, and then you have to be... There's a couple ways that you can do this. And they're going to give different looks. If you... And I know I'm going to probably get in an argument, or I won't get in an argument, but some people might say like, okay, well, that's not really whatever. Marbling. If this already, so this already has finish on it, you can take your dots or globs or whatever. You can manipulate this all around. You can take multiple colors. You can do a number of different things. You can kind of sort of do like a camo like this, okay? Add another color. I don't have another color here, but imagine if, you know, I had green and some other stuff, right? This is also going to give you some, what I call relief off the top of this. So it's going to give a little bit of a 3D effect. Okay, you can take this and also string this out with your pick, the Hunter McCamey pick set. Now it's going to look a little different because it's not going to be as Hunter had it in there before, but because we're using the acrylic paint,
You can definitely be more precise.
yes. You can be more precise in it. You can add like another color in on top of this. You can do a number of different things. This has got to cure out, okay? Let this cure out, add a couple more colors, push them together, move it around. You're going to then have to come back and put another coat of finish on top of this once that this is already cured out. But it's going to give you a very unique look, and there's going to be a little relief there. There's going to be a little bit of depth there. And it's just going to be something that's completely different. And I just wanted to show that because whether it's, not that it's really called marbling, but we're utilizing all the stuff for marbling. I laid down solid nylon black 862, put a couple colors on there. This is that khaki. You could do, you know, whatever other pigment colors you want. You can mix them together, string them together, do that, let them cure out, and then you're going to come back and put finish over the top. Because we actually, on the previous show, we actually took and had the real stringy, like this one where it got, I don't even know if we can, yeah, this one where it was like very, very stringy. And we didn't put any epoxy over the top of it. And it cured out. And it was rock solid. Now, you had to put finish over it. But it was cured just as it would have if it was regular finish. You know, I was trying to like mess this one up, this white, but man, it actually like did pretty good. So anyway, now we're just playing at this point, and I know nobody wants to wait through all this other stuff. All right, but you can see what it does, right? Okay, last but not least, I wanted to show you another idea. We could do probably a whole show on this, but we're not gonna. Take this out, move this. There we go. All right. We'll do this real quick, and then we'll do the final giveaway. It's gonna be a mess. Where'd it go? All right. I think we should still be good. Okay, that's kind of still taking. All right, this is gold leaf. So everybody wants to try to find like a new base, a new bottom, new under wrap, new under color, whatever. I've been kind of playing with it a little bit. I just wanted to talk about it briefly. So this is real gold leaf. There's a couple things. Well, it doesn't really need to be spinning, but you need to use sizing. I have no idea what this is. It looks a lot like, and when I say I don't know what it is, I know what it is, but it sure looks a lot like color preserver. Now, I messed around with this a little bit. The color preserver, don't use color preserver. Okay, I'm saying that it looks like color preserver, but don't use color preserver. Color preserver is too watery, and this has a very unique makeup where it tells you put it on, wait 30 to 60 minutes, and then attach your gold leaf. Okay, so oh, hang on, we got to go back overhead. Got to get this. I don't want to. Okay. So in between here, you can kind of see it's darker black. The reason is there is your adhesive, which is this stuff, the metal leaf adhesive. To check and see if this is cured or cured enough, you just touch it with the back of your knuckle, and you can feel it kind of tacky, all right? Then what you're going to do is you're going to lay the gold leaf on here, and wherever that tackiness is, the gold leaf is going to stick to it. This creates a mess of all messes, okay? So we're just bear with me while we make a giant mess. Now, got a book of gold leaf, okay? The top one is all messed up because what's really funny, it's not funny, but it's funny. So when they seal these packages, this package here has adhesive on it. Well, of course, as you're going like this and you're pulling it out and you're doing this, the adhesive here grabs your gold leaf and it creates a problem. So I cut the adhesive off the bag. So there we go. Now, granted, we could probably still work with that one. But you can see it is, when I say paper, it is like beyond tissue, right? You also need a brush. I'm sure, you know, when I did not raid my wife's makeup drawer because I'm still here, obviously.
Yeah.
So I went and bought, this is not a finished brush. This is, the ladies will know it's a makeup brush. It needs to be very, very like soft and delicate. A couple of these are, well, depending on what package you get, you will notice there's all these little, there's these leaflet dividers in here. Right? So that's how it is, okay? I'm trying to do it so it's not like creating a huge problem. And I'm trying not to touch it. Come on, man. Of course, we're doing this live. It's one of those things that's like, it's delicate, but it's also kind of tough at the same time. And I'm sure somebody will chime in and be like, you're doing it wrong, dummy. But you guys do that enough to me. Gosh. I'm trying to take the little leaflet with it. Okay. Just so I'm not like completely messing with it. Now, you can leave it spinning, or Hunter, would you shut it off for me?
Sure.
Now, I purposely see, because I tore it. The good news here is, even if there's a hole in the center, And you'll see it here. It's like everybody was like, wow, that other one was perfect. It's like, yeah, well, this one's not going to be. Hunter doesn't even have the comments to watch him blowing up.
I can only imagine.
Oh, yeah. I actually like crumple the paper, and I do that because it kind of like crumples it a little. I don't want it perfectly smooth on the top. I obviously didn't want to break that one piece, but the good news is that if that adhesive is still there, just going to come back around it. And yeah, I understand I'm wasting like the entire sheet, but that's what we're doing here, right? I just want to make sure I was back all the way around. Pull that thing for me. This is where the mess begins. Okay. All right. Yep. I just wanted to show that one that was destroyed by the adhesive and not just me being whatever. This has got to go in here. We'll do that later. Okay. And then you've got to have your, now, if I was smart, I would have Hunter run a shop vac while I do this, but I'm not, and I'll just clean it up later. So you need to take the makeup brush. And you can see here, as we get rid of this, it's brushing off of the tape because there's no adhesive on the tape really from what I put. And you just got to kind of work it. You could get a stiffer brush, but I kind of just am manipulating it so I don't tear it or like really booger it up. But this is really all you have to do to like lay your gold leaf down. Now when you do this, I just put finish over it. I haven't really noticed that it needs to be like sit for 2 hours, 20 minutes, an hour, whatever. This one next to me here that I put already has finish on it. And I put finish on it and I used heat and everything was fine. I did a little while ago test like what happens when instead of using color preserver to glue it down, what happens if you put like should you put color preserver over top of it? The color preserver like runs away from it. It's very weird. And not that I've put color preserver over anything except for thread, but the color preserver just like runs away from it. Now you can also take like, if you wanted to add a little more pressure to it and kind of wipe it, you can wipe it with a cotton swab, right? That just helps kind of make like a bigger mess and knocks it down. You just have to be careful that you don't get cotton swab hairs in it, but it shouldn't be, there shouldn't be any adhesive left. So I don't really see any there. There's a little out here on the tape. And then, gosh, that stuff is going to be, you'll see this stuff on the next 50 shows. Episode 200 will be removing gold leaf off the desk. And then I just put the tape on there for no other reason but to just mark where I had put the adhesive. So this has finish on it over here now. So now we can just go to this. There's finish on it. I got one layer real thin, pretty much like I did with the black thread. And just get super creative. You can do the pearlescent colors over the top of it. You know, of course, black and white looks incredible over the top of this gold. Yeah.
You could do thread over top of it. You can do anything.
Right. So this is a little, this is a little past the, little past just marbling, but I wanted to give you guys a little base. We're gonna put pearlescent on it and like really really ruin it. See what it does.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got to band me up there, sir.
This one. Or no, you're on drawing?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I don't know if this is... I bet the purple and the gold probably looks good.
Looks like it really smoothed out once you put finish on it as well.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if this is even okay to put finish on. Yeah. Didn't know where it was in the curing process. You really got to put a lot.
Yeah.
You have to go pretty heavy to see that. But that's part of like, well, what does that look like?
You know, I bet if you kept that epoxy super, super thin and did 2 or 3 coats of that purple,
Yeah.
I bet it would turn out very cool. It'd be a little painstaking, but
We're already building custom finish rods here.
Yeah, why not?
What's the rush, huh? Yeah, I don't know. I bet if we coated the whole thing in it and took it in the sun, I bet it
Yeah.
would probably be pretty cool.
you get a little tint.
Yeah. Probably. I was just gonna see if I don't know if that's gonna level out or not, but
Mega mess.
yeah, exactly. Uncle Phil's gonna get home and be like, "Why is there?" Oh, you can see a little. You
Oh,
can see a little purple in there on the edge.
yeah, it's there. It's a tinge.
Tinge.
Yeah,
See it?
Actually
See, not too bad.
does look pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Tips from the war room coming at you. All right. So that's it. Somebody said, "Don't do it." All right. I guess we probably should answer some questions. Looks like we've got quite a few questions. Let's see. Oh, look at Kenny's in there. He said, "Hey, all," from the Mudhole Showroom.
Hey, Kenny.
Hey, Kenny, thanks for joining us. You're not getting paid overtime, but I'm glad you're here. Let's see. Kirk Ketchum, I want a dedicated sheep's head rod. Yes, I would go with a drop shot blank. The S822 is probably the one that I would go to. Yeah, I would use that. I'm a big sheep's head guy, catch them on fly, but yeah, I like that. Let's see. We did that. Randy, unfortunately, if you are going to mess up your marbling pattern and you feel like that you've messed it up, you're probably gonna have to start over. Hunter, are you seeing any real differences? Have you messed? He's asking about Gen 4 and Gen 5. Are you seeing any like differences that you're?
You know, to be honest, I haven't used it as much as I should,
Yep.
but I definitely can tell a few differences from Gen 4. It definitely reacts differently with heat.
Yeah.
But
And that's my biggest one.
is there a difference between Gen 4 and Gen 5? Absolutely. You get the best qualities of Gen 4, plus, yeah, I do think the biggest differences are, around using heat. You still get the great bubble release and, all those good things.
Yep. Hal, hopefully we answered your question there with putting the thread down and then doing the base coat. If I put thread down, I always put finish on that thread before I put any other marbling stuff. Let's see. When you put finish on, are you going back and forth with the brush or little sections at a time? We, as you saw tonight, Hunter works in little sections. I think sometimes if you try to do too much, you'll probably get yourself in trouble a little bit. So, Bill, can you marble anywhere on the rod? Yes, you can. And
That's a good one.
we've got one here, a little Victor Joseph build. We got it right here in between the double-footed guides. So we've got that one. It's nice and spooky. It looks like a face. I don't know if you try to do that on purpose, but freaks me out. And then it matches all of this, which is just above the foregrip. So little smoke on the water. I don't know if that's what he calls it, but that's what I call it because I think it looks cool. Let's see. Did that one, did that one, did that one. Aaron, has anybody done multiple layers to look like clouds? Yes. So that was kind of partially what I was getting at with putting the base thread down. Doesn't always have to be black thread. You can put white, you can put different colors. You can add it and then come back and coat it and then add another kind of decorative, let that cure and then coat it. You can make it, granted you're going to be adding thickness, but that's not always a problem. I wrote a blog on like how much all of this fancy stuff weighs. It doesn't weigh hardly anything. In addition to, so yeah, I would do the layers. It's kind of like when you do a tiger wrap, and you kind of have to build up layers, but it gives an awesome, effect there. Yes, we can mix pigments into others. Use a round toothpick for smaller dots. Yeah, just kind of looking here. Yes, you can add glitter. You can do it two ways. You can add glitter after. You can do glitter in the base coat and then marble over the top, or you can just add it right into the pigment. I don't do a lot of glitter, to be honest with you, for no particular reason, but just like...
That surprises me.
Does it?
Yeah.
I know, right? It's just in my eyeshadow. Is all it does. Right. So yeah, you can, if you use more powder, does it darken? Just like the pigments, I have not seen, like if we dumped the entire thing of powder in there, we're just going to cause a problem. It darkens it a little bit, but all of those powders being like a pearlescent, there's no, in this like purple, it actually does look kind of cool. With this purple, you're not going to get like solid purple.
Yeah.
It's just not the way it's made.
Yeah, gotta go with the liquid pigments for that.
Yep. Let's see. Oh, we mentioned this earlier about the paint cracking. We've never really seen that because it's, let's see. Hal, this is a great question, and I have not gone down this road. Think about using a thinner acetone or alcohol. If you get spreading on the blank that you like maybe a small amount as a mist. It's a really good idea. I don't know if it would run the finish or if it would run the pigment or if it would run both.
Yeah, probably both.
I would think it would probably run both. Honestly, though, I think it's worth trying.
Yeah.
I mean, yep. The mica powder, yes, it works well. Sometimes you got to do a little more than maybe you think when you use the mica powder. Let's see. Gary, I have not tried the foil leaf made by Cricut. Is that, if it's the one that has the adhesive on the back, you have to apply it a little differently. That's the only thing I know, but I have not. Yes, if you mess up, you can start over. You can peel that off. It's not easy. It's not easy. I would just like cover it with thread.
Exactly. Leave it and cover it with thread.
Yeah, it can be a little bit of a mess, honestly. All right. Yes, you can use liquid and powder together. That's fine. I do not know if you could use the same dyes that you use in soft plastic bait making.
Yeah, I just don't know how those would react with the epoxy. Would be my
because I
fear.
think what ends up happening with certain dyes and pigments is you get to a level where you have to add so much of them to get like the desired concentration that you start to like cause an issue with how the epoxy cures. The reason that the pigments do so well is they're so highly concentrated in pigment.
Mm-hmm.
You just use a little dot and it's done, so it never messes with the integrity of the finish. But I don't know a whole lot about like lure dyeing pigments. I know what you're talking about, but I'm not sure if it would or not. Let's see. Whoops. Sorry. Yep. Anyway, I think that's about it.
I'll throw out one last pro tip before we hit the giveaway. These liquid pigments, specifically the liquid ones, not necessarily the powder pigments, but you can use these liquid pigments to, add to your epoxy, also for your thread wraps, right? So, one thing with even black thread is even using nylon, it, like Chris showed earlier on one of the pieces of scrap blank, that one right there, it does go jet black, right? But, especially if you're using like a color preserver 862 black, it doesn't ever really get like jet black. You got a little bit of a gray tone to it.
Yeah, or like a navy.
Like a little blue tint to it. Now, whether it's black or white or whatever color you want to use as far as the pigments go, you can add that to your epoxy, and then when you go to your thread wraps, you can coat them with, the same pigmented epoxy that we're doing with the marbling. So, if you're not happy with your color, your thread color, or maybe you had some gaps that you didn't see and you're like, oh man, how do I cover this up? I don't want to take the guide off. Well, that's your alternative. You can use it to cover up, something that you might have messed up by mistake.
Yep.
Or if you just truly want a solid color, right? Because when we use thread and we use epoxy, you usually end up with if you're using regular nylon, you get that translucent look, and you and I both love that, but some people may not. If you want a truly just solid color on your thread wraps, pigments are the way to go.
Yeah, it will certainly help. Here's a great one that we're going to end on. Randy, this is a great question. What's the #1 rookie mistake in marbling you see all the time? I would say moving too fast.
Yeah.
I would say rushing the whole process from getting everything mixed and then trying to add paint and pigment and then getting real excited to be like, oh man, this is going to be so cool. And then it
Yeah.
You see how long, I mean, we've been up here yammering for 1 hour and 43 minutes. And I still was able to, 30 minutes later, use the white that had the flex coat stuff in it. So that was 30 minutes later, and it still was perfect. And maybe it was even a touch better than when I first started manipulating it. We're under a time crunch because we got the lights and we got people ready to go eat Hot Pockets, but rushing. I think rushing is the #1. You can go way too much.
I would throw in giving up too soon and scrapping what you got.
Yeah.
Right? Let me pull this back out.
Oh yeah, did it ever?
Kind of just what the end result turned out to be.
It's hideous.
Now, obviously, don't look at the tan. That's
that
just
was
off
me.
to the side, but
Being ridiculous.
it doesn't look that bad for what we put this little demo piece through.
So
And
that's cute. That's what's your mom was like,
yeah.
oh, Hunter.
Oh, you did so good.
It's
I'm proud of
fine.
you. We added multiple colors, and Chris added in some purple, which
We tried to booger it up.
yeah. And at the end, all I did was come back in and just do long movement or long strokes, and just a bunch of them all the way around the blank. And look at that. It doesn't look that bad. So
Yeah.
don't give up on it too soon. Stick with
Cool.
it and see what you can turn it into.
All right. Samantha Ann Fishing with Blaine. Can you use acrylic paint that you find in Hobby Lobby for marbling? You can. It's got a bunch of colors per Wes Christie and per me testing it. Use the folk art in the matte finish. Wes and Mary say that the metallics and things act differently. They all work, but they act a little differently. So if you don't want to, even though I do like the CRB pigments because I'll mix them and I like to kind of mix my colors. I just got these so that you guys could see it. And yes, if you have a Hobby Lobby, I actually think they're out of business. If you have Michaels maybe, or maybe that was Joanne.
think
Joanne's
Joann's.
Fabrics is out.
Yeah.
Hobby Lobby's still in. Sorry. They haven't changed their logo or the inside of their store yet to run them out of business. So, all right, anyway, Let's get out of here. We've got chicken nuggets waiting on us. Final giveaway. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. Let's do it. Rod kit of choice. Run that thing. John said, cut that blank and put it on Bob's refrigerator.
Don't tempt me.
Yeah, right?
Mike M.
With as big as that rod blanket is, you could use it as a funnel.
Yeah. All right, Mike M.
Yeah.
Stand by for that last name.
That's it.
Who we got? Who do we got?
Boy, I hope it's a mess. If you don't win, don't go away. We have a secret for you.
Mike Moritz?
Yeah.
Moritz?
Close enough.
Moritz?
That's what I would have said. Moritz? Yeah.
Moritz? I think that's close.
I think
Congrats, Mike.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, rod kit of choice.
All right. So since everybody wanted to stick around till 8:17 Eastern Standard Time, Hunter has a surprise.
We do. So,
Go ahead.
Obviously, Monday is a upcoming holiday, and we love to treat you guys to first crack at
A little better than everybody else.
at our sales. So you guys get first dibs. The Labor Day sale is active right now on the website. 15% off. There's no minimum order. Usually we have minimum orders. You got to hit 150, 200, whatever it might be. There's no minimum. You can spend $50. You can spend $2,000. 15% off. So see the website for details. There are some exclusions in there, but majority of the website is
no minimums,
active.
no codes. Go shop, 15% off, and the website will tell you all you need to know.
Yep.
Now, there is something new that we're going to be doing. So Hunter and I want to continue to talk about more fishing stuff than just rod building. And we're doing a lot of kits, and with the killer tackle center that we got going on downstairs with all the good stuff in it, we now have the ability to walk down there and do a little shopping, and we want to tell you guys more about it in terms of rod building and fishing. So we got a new series that Hunter and I are going to be doing. It is not going to be live, but it's going to be recorded, and then also there's a podcast element. Is that correct? So it's called Build to Bite. First episode is going to start in September, and we are going to pick a specific build, like a drop shot rod, and do an entire episode on it and talk about very particular things. I know some of you guys like to get on here and like, with that guy in the blue shirt, just shut up and show us how to ream that grip. Well, guess what? Build to Bite's for you. All right? So we're going to walk you through exactly what you need to do. It's not going to be an hour and 47 minutes long. And then we're going to do a podcast after it. All going to be kind of in its thing, right? You're going to be able to listen to it when you don't want to see our ugly faces. And we're going to talk about fishing, our experiences, lines and leaders and reels and all that other stuff. Because we do get a lot of questions in here that are people who are like, oh yeah, what's the favorite sheep's head rod? Well, I'd like to tell you all about it, and the reel and the line and the hook and all that stuff. So if you want it, there it is. Build to Bite, and first episode is in September.
Yep.
The next Mudhole Live episode, and this is kind of sort of how this is going to go. We're going to do Build to Bite in September. So it's going to be pre-recorded. There's going to be awesome close-ups. You're going to be able to go back, skim through it, see what you want to see, listen to the podcast part of it. And then that's September. Then October 28th is going to be the next Mudhole Live show. And we're going to do a little theme. It's going to be called Trick or Trout, episode 126. We're going to talk about ultralights, Tennessee handles, setting up that guide kit for your ultralight. What guide set do you use for like a size 500 and like 2-pound test monofilament line? So we're going to go over that for Trick or Trout, October 28th. That's the next live show. But be on the lookout for Build to Bite. We're going to be talking about it, and you guys will hear about it as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really cool thing. We're combining rod building for the first part of the each episode, and then we're going to follow that up with the angling and fishing side. I would hope most of y'all that build rods are fishermen, right? We're typically fishermen before we're even rod builders. So I think this this video series is going to be super helpful to tie all these aspects together. We're going to show you all the rod building side of things, why we build a certain rod a certain way, and then we're going to show you, you know, what baits to throw, what reel to use, what line to use. We're going to tie all those things together. So
it might even mix in a fishing story or two.
yeah, several, couple lies here and there, no big deal. But
the best part is when you listen to podcasts, you can listen to it at like 1.5 or 2x speed. So you know it doesn't have to be an hour and
fast
47.
forward and
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
An hour and 50 minutes. All right, my chicken nuggets are getting cold. Thanks to everybody in the war room tonight, putting the links in there. I know Steve was here. Patrick was in the building, right? Birdman and Hoffman doing all the cool stuff for, you know, when we have all of the graphics and all that stuff, that's not AI. That's not Gronk. That's not ChatGPT. That's Chad Hoffman and Birdman. That's who that is. that's who that is. And then, of course, the video guys, we had Justin on the Zoom who does a ton of the video editing, the ins and outs and all that stuff. I wish he could make me look a little bit better. We're still working on filters, but Justin does a killer job. And then Uncle Phil on the ones and twos. He's been rolling his eyes at me all night long.
What's new?
So I think he's just ready to get home. He's got a mural to paint or something. So anyway, Hunter, my left-hand man. And yeah, I'm Chris Adams. And we'll see you guys. Be on the lookout for Build to Bite. And then we'll see you in October for Trick or Trout. Have a good night.
Thanks for watching.